Well, today here on GeekSmart, we're going to do another install on my Tesla. This is a 2022 model Tesla, Model 3. And this is the HANSSHOW screen rotating kit. One of those kits that I've actually been looking at, kind of eyeing back and forth before I even actually received my Tesla, whether or not I wanted to do it. Then after I received it, I was kind of going, well, maybe do I really need it? But it would be nice on occasion. We're going to find out what it does. I'm also going to take measurements to how my screen currently sits to see how much of a difference this makes in terms of height, because I know it does change a little bit. So let's get into this guy. Okay, well, thanks for hanging out here on GeekSmart. Let's get into this guy. Let's actually open the box. See what's in the box. See what tools we're going to need. Alright, so we have some instructions. They do give you the installation tools that we need. It looks like pry bar, which I'm hoping actually comes in the box. It looks like it does come. Oh, maybe it actually comes with all these tools too. Let's take a peek at that. So goes through the instructions. Looks like they actually have a video that they would like you to watch. I might do that before I actually do it real quick, or I might just do it. All right, so there's the instructions. Let's tear into here. Okay, so we have, looks like the cover. Looks like, yes, they do come with all of the tools necessary. That's awesome. Let's put those over here because I'm going to need those right away. What's in here? Okay, looks like the speaker cover, things like that. Yep, looks like in there, I think there are two different varieties depending on variety. It looks like there are two different ones here. Another little cover there. Put those, I'm actually going to set these down here because I'm not going to, that way it's easy to find. It looks like there's the bracket itself, nice heavy duty aluminum block. So there's that. I do have a couple screws, one little one here that just kind of sitting in here. I don't know what the heck that's to, but I'm going to keep it right there. And then we do have the big Allen bolt fasteners too. Okay, so that's the parts and tools. Guess let's get into the cabin. Okay, so before we get going, I want to take a measurement, and I'm going to actually take it from the actual piece right here. Looks like to the bottom, about 7 1/4, give or take, at the angle. That's a good bet at least. So from there to the bottom of the screen, 7 1/4. Might as well take a measurement this way too. So from the steering column to the edge is 4 1/2. So 7 1/4, 4 1/2. I'll go by that, and let's get underneath this thing. One other thing I wanted to mention right now, I have my Kleenex box back here, which you can't see the Kleenex box at all unless you really get up and over. So from passenger's perspective, it's hidden. I also want to see what that looks like after I'm done. Okay, so we are underneath the screen. So this is the screen right here, the edge of the screen. So you can kind of see there's a little hole right there. That's where we actually take the orange tool they gave us. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this and hold the camera at the same time. I'm going to try it. Yeah, I'm going to have to probably get my hands in there. But that's where it is. I'll show you here in a second. Okay, once I got both my hands on this and kind of just pried it out, there's our, it just popped down. All right. Let's see up in here. So now that we have it down, we actually have this temperature sensor to remove from here. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the two bolts here. And looking at it, I don't think that the wrench that they gave us actually is the right size for that. So you'll also have to have a T20 Torx wrench. I'm going to put a list of all the tools that you need in the description. So I'm going to do that real quick. Take the two screws out, one here, one there. And that'll remove the temperature sensor from the panel, and then I can remove that. And obviously you're going to want to hold on to the screws. And so that just popped right off of that once I got those two screws out. So I'm going to set this off to the side. I have the two screws here as well. Now we got to get ready to remove the screen. Before we do that, let's get the screen ready for it, as well as a towel down. So to remove the screen, we actually just have two kind of 10mm bolts, I think, to remove. I'm going to put a towel down right here. A nice, soft, cushy towel for that screen to lay on while after I get it off. And I'm also going to want to put this in screen cleaning mode so that I can't do anything and accidentally touching it. So display, screen cleaning mode. Now we're in screen cleaning mode, and I don't have to worry about if I touch things, and I won't mess things up. So now I got to remove two bolts. Okay, so those two bolts, one on each side, are 10 millimeter, but they give us a little 10 millimeter box wrench. I'm not going to use that because that's going to take me way too long. Get a socket. It's going to be way easier. And even with me kind of doing this blindly, it's going to be a lot easier than doing with that box wrench, you know? So we're going to hold on to that guy. And there's the second one. Okay, so we have the bolts out, and without holding the exit, we want to remove the screen slowly and set it down on the towel that I have right here, and I can actually zoom out a little bit if you want to see a little more. It should just kind of slowly pop out. There it goes. Just kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit, and I'm going to lay it down on the towel. Bring the towel forward a little bit, maybe. There we go. And now we got all the guts of the screen right down here. Okay, so here's what we look like out of the dash. We do have this bracket here that we have to remove next, which are these two bolts down there, which they say, I thought T25 or T30. I think this is a T25 wrench, which is actually too loose. You probably could get it out with this, but I'm going to use the right tool for the job. I'm going to have to grab a T30 wrench, and there's just one there and one down there I got to remove quick. I'm very happy to have this simple screwdriver that does have a whole bunch of different bits. And every time you take these out, make sure you save the screws because you're probably going to use them. So now this is loose. You're going to lose that. Now we got to take this cable out. I'm going to show you that up close. Okay, so we have this cable coming in that actually has a plastic shroud around it that is holding it in place so it can't be disconnected. So looks like I think we have to kind of open it up. I can do this even one-handed, I think. Over that side, over that side. Yep. So just kind of wiggle that out. That's simple. I even did that one-handed. That was easy. So set that off to the side. You'll need that again. And then this connector looks like it just has a, oh, right down there you can see a little tab. I don't know if I can do that with my finger or not. Let me push. Basically, you just have to push in on that tab. May have to use a screwdriver to do that. Nope. Sorry about that. I don't know how well I get, but I just pushed in on the tab with my fingernail. This little tab right here. You can kind of see it, just like an RJ45 for a network cable, and then you pull. And that was very simple. So now we have the screen completely disconnected. I'm just going to slide it downhill a little bit so it doesn't slide around. I'm going to leave it right there where it is, and now we get to mess with this. Okay, so first of all, we have the cables here. This little bracket here, we can put that off to the side because we're not going to use this for the new setup, so I'm going to set that over with the other piece that I removed. So now we have the temperature sensor and then the cable for that. First of all, let's work on the temperature sensor. So there are a couple different methods that they give you for the temperature sensor depending on your vehicle. And I think you just grab the one, it looks like this is going to be the one that's for me. Let's find out. Looks like that is it. So on the newer model it has the kind of the speaker grill type look on it. I'm going to go ahead and put the screws back in that came out originally. So I'm going to have to get that wrench back out. Don't want to go too tight because it is just plastic, nice and snug. Alright, so I got the speaker ready to go. Okay, so now we're going to be actually putting the mount on here. And you didn't have to do this in this order, but I'm just going to kind of wing it here. So we have the new mount. This is the mount here. It's going to go ahead and you can kind of see where there's the big heavier part and then the lower part that the screen attaches to. So we're actually going to get this part in place. And I believe we actually have to use the factory 10mm bolts that we took out before. So I'm going to get my socket out here real quick, and I'm going to actually take these guys and see if I can't get them in place. Okay, so now we are good there. Okay, so now that we have on here, this bracket here, that actually is what the actual screen is going to swivel on, is adjustable, and that's what that gigantic Allen wrench they gave you is. So you can actually tighten or loosen this Allen bolt down here to make it easier or harder to turn, and we'll want to adjust that before we get too far along. I loosened it up just a little bit so I can actually swivel this around, because now we have to put this plastic shroud on. Basically it's going to cover all of this hole here, We do have to make sure we get the cables through here. So we get both cables through that first. Then we have to kind of get it on here and move the mount around. Move it both directions. And by mount around, I'm talking about the piece that actually the screen attaches to. There we go. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. Then I rotate it around. And now, there we go. Alright, so we kind of get it in there. And I'm going to check to see if it goes in the top first or bottom first. But I'll definitely want to know that so I don't screw anything up, I guess. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get, there's the 3 clips on top, I'm going to get that in first around the wood trim. And then, no, I think you have to do the bottom first. I don't think it's going to work otherwise. So kind of work your bottom in first. And then slowly start pushing it down. Alright, this is a little, not too bad, I guess. There it goes. Okay, so she snaps in place. It just looked like it didn't want to go there for a little bit. Kind of weird. Nope, that's clipped in all right. Alright, so now we've got the other trim. Okay, so now we have the second bracket, this guy here, that actually goes onto the actual screen itself to put on. However, before we do that, we do have to make sure that the other items are ready too. So this temperature sensor, we're going to push in there, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm just worried about the screen cable. So I'm going to pull the screen cable through here. I'm going to slide my screen back again, and I don't need that one, so I can set that up to the side. All right, now that purple cable, we're going to want to make sure it goes back in the same way it came out until it clicks. There, it clicked. Okay. Now I have that white piece here that actually goes around this guy that actually keeps it and holds it in place. And I'm going to do this one without holding onto the camera, without one hand, I guess. And we're going to wrap it back around how it basically came out. There we go. And that'll hold it in place. And I'll bring the camera in so you can at least see that real quick. Alright, so you can see how I have that back in exactly how it came. I have this just loose, and this is actually going to go in like so. And then we're going to use those two, I think they're T30 screws in my case, that we're holding on this guy to the screw. Yeah, it was this guy? Maybe it was, yeah, I think it was that guy to the screen before. Now we're going to put this back in place, and I didn't show you this up close and personal what that looks like after it's done. Just take your time on that one. Before I get too far into this, I am going to tighten that up real quick as well, just to make sure that it's nice and snug so that the screen doesn't move on its own, and then we're going to put it together. Okay. That's something I'm going to have to show you real quick because that is a little goofy. So you can see that the washer head on these screws is actually too wide. So if I actually try to push this all the way down and then try to put this in place, it puts the screw at an angle and it won't screw in. However, there is, if you can kind of see down there, there's a small cutout in the plastic where the washer head actually will kind of go into. You can kind of see where the washer head's kind of disappearing into the thing. Right? You can kind of see it in there. So basically you're going to have to do both screws at the same time, slowly down, kind of at an angle. Let me see if I can do this at a better angle. Okay, so I have this one loosely in. I'm going to set this screw all the way into the plastic first. All the way in, come on. There we go. Then start screwing it into the screen so it's not at that weird angle. There we go. I'm going to get this one down a little bit further. And this one down. Probably all the way down now. Okay, same with this side. Okay. So now we should be good on the screen part. And like I said, I'm going to go back into this big guy here. I'm just going to tighten him up just a little bit, not too much. I want it to be nice and stiff so it doesn't move. Now I can obviously always easily pop this back out and redo that, but yeah. Alright, I'm going to explain this before I actually do this because I don't know how well it's going to come on video, but we're going to take the screen, kind of place her back so where this goes is going to slide over the new bracket arms here, and then we have the new, looks like 8 or whatever, the screws that came in the kit, right? And that's going to come, that should use the Allen wrench that they provided, yep. And thankfully they give us a ball end Allen wrench, so even in an angle we can use it. That's what you're going to actually use to fasten these in. You may have to probably wiggle the screen to line up the holes. That's some assumption, just kind of like the other one. Let's do this one at a time, shall we? And so yeah, once you get the screw there, you kind of got to wiggle it a little bit to get the Allen or the bolt to find its hole proper. Get the other side going. I apologize for my head in the shot. Alright, I'm going to get the other one tightened real quick. I'll be right back. And of course I wasn't filming this. If you didn't notice, my screen didn't come back on when I actually had everything connected, and kind of got me a little worried. But all I did real quick was I just obviously did a reset of the system. So I pushed both of the knobs back in. I held it for a good 10 seconds or so, and now we actually have the screen coming back up. So had me worried for a second, but it must have obviously known. It knows that I disconnected the screen, so maybe that's a new setting. In order to get your screen to come back up, you may have to do a restart of the vehicle. So I knew I didn't do anything that damaged it, but you know, because I was like, why is this happening? So either way, now we have this. Both sides are tight for the Allen screws, and now we just have to mess with the temperature sensor. Okay, so this is underneath. The reason that we couldn't do the temperature sensor first, because it would have been easier being able to see with the screen out of the way, is that it's actually attached to the cable that goes to the screen, so you gotta have that maneuverability of the screen. So now we can actually take that cable and kind of push it back up in there, and now we have the temperature sensor itself that kind of goes in. So you can kind of see on the temperature sensor, I don't know how well that is going to show, there's a clip on each side, and then one on one of the long sides. The other side is actually a smooth side, so I think that's what faces up, and kind of set it up in there. I'm gonna have to take a peek, get my eyes in a better position. Alright, this is a better angle, so you can actually see on the hole too. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I apologize if it's not coming through real clearly. And then on this guy we only have 3 sides that have teeth, I guess, or clips, and then 1 foot. So this side here is obviously the side that's exposed toward the top, and so this is going to have to almost kind of go, you kind of put it up in there, and of course I went too far. Take your time, clip in there, and then it almost goes down. It's almost like a drawer, I think, and slides into place. I'm going to have to do this, I think, with the camera out of the way, unfortunately. Alright, I don't know how well you're going to see this, but I'm going to do my best. Stay out of the way. Of course, I can't see very well at all myself. Oh, but that last one, come on. Clip. I think we're good. So it was a little tricky, but kind of put it in and then slide it down. And that looks pretty professional right there. Before we get too much further, I think this piece here, I believe it's this piece, this is kind of like a shim trim piece almost, that if you have too big of a gap back there and you're not happy with it, I think that's where this goes, but I was good with mine. So, let's see how this thing works. Bonk! Nice and firm, real firm. I can't get to that adjustment thing without actually taking the screen down. So make sure that you're happy with this before you put everything together. Now let's get some measurements. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. About 6 now. 6. So that's down 1.25 inches. That drops that screen 1.25 inches down, and we're at actually 5.25 now. I think we were at, what were we, 4.5 before? I believe is what it was. So we're actually shifted that way as well, which actually will help the driver, because you do have the steering wheel in your way, and if you're going to want to aim it towards the driver, there we are. So let's see what it looks like with my tissue holder back there. Oh, not too bad actually. It's definitely more noticeable. It's definitely lower. There's no doubt at all that it's lower, but at the same time, it is brought out a little bit, so there's actually a little bit more room back there for the tissue box to sit, so that does help, I guess. Okay, well that's that. I think the last thing to do, and I have the tissue box back there as well, is to get in the driver's seat and see how well the steering wheel works with that. Alright, I'm going to be as honest as I can here. I actually like it moving slightly to the right because I actually see better from this is my point of view back here. Not terribly better, but it is better. It is, in the down is less than of a hard deal breaker than I would have expected it to be. I thought it was going to be. I don't really know if I really want it to go down, but it's actually not that bad. I've heard most people say that. The other thing is that if you have your phone, you're not going to see as much of your phone, right? Because the screen did come down, so it's going to cover it more. But to be honest, in my case, when I put my phone on the charger, I don't touch my phone. I let it sit, and I use everything on the screen. So I think that's a benefit. I guess it doesn't really matter in all reality. But it is going to be nice that if I'm watching a show when I'm charging and I'm alone, I can get the glare off if nothing else. Or if my wife's going to be doing something on the screen while I'm driving, at least I can still see everything on there, even if it's off to the side. So I think that's why they can get away with this, is because even if you're turning it towards the passenger, I'm still going to be able to see my driving information. So to be honest, quick, easy install. Tools, you're going to need a few extra tools than what they give you, and I think that's going to depend more on your version of the vehicle. That 10mm wrench they give you, it's fine. Get a socket wrench. 10mm socket wrench is the only socket wrench you're going to need. T20, in my case, T20, T30 bits and socket wrench, and either a flat screwdriver, or you can use the pry bar tool, the initial pry bar tool to pop it open, and that's it really. Everything else is pretty straightforward. And of course, if you came back online after you get everything connected and it's a black screen, hold your steering column or steering wheel knobs in to restart the vehicle. And because you can't tell when the screen goes black because it's already black, you'll have to hold it for a good 10-15 seconds before you let go. So that is the install. So that's it. That's the screen rotation kit from HANSSHOW. It's also going to show up on Amazon as MUSKGEEN. I'm going to put the links down in the description, so if you want to take a peek at it, by all means. From me installing percentage point is it's not a hard install. Just take your time. Like I said, tools that you're going to want. 10mm socket. I would definitely do a 10mm socket. A T20, T30. Now, of course, those could vary depending on your vehicle. I have the 22 Model 3, so it all depends on which one you have. Model Y might be slightly different too. Then outside of that, maybe a flathead screwdriver, but again, they're going to give you the orange tool, and they're also going to give you the Allen key that you're going to need for the screen as well. So you don't need to provide that. That works great because it is a ball-sided Allen key. Outside of that, I did not use, they gave me a little Phillips wrench. I didn't use that at all. That was about it. It was those 3 tools really is all I really needed, or 4, I guess technically. But they give you most of the stuff you need. I do appreciate that. At least that worked as good as well. From what I can tell, I think I'm going to really like it. But of course, time will tell that. And in this case, because my wife drives this vehicle as well, I'm going to try to get her opinion to put into my review video once I get that done. So that's going to be over on TechGooch. I'll link that down in the description as well. And if you have any questions, comments below, head over to techgooch.com, like, share, subscribe, and yeah. If you have any other recommendations, thanks for recommending this one. So far, it looks pretty good. And to be honest, I've done a couple HANSSHOW videos, so I was keen on trying this one out as well. Yeah, I will say this. That little QR, or in the instructions, the QR code they give you, that video is okay. It definitely didn't help me a whole lot. So hopefully this helped you. Thanks for watching here to the end. Catch you back here on GeekSmart for another video install tutorial setup. We'll see you soon.